Welcome, everybody, to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima, and I'm a dating and relationship coach and founder of Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and also of Single and Stilettos. Today, we have on our show Duana Welch, and she's the author of Love Factually: 10 Proven Steps from I Wish to I Do. And I'm so excited to have her here today because today she's talking about why smart, successful women can fail at love. So before we jump into it, Duana, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about you and what made you write this book.
Well, my own process of crashing and burning led to learning the information that's in the book. Basically, I was in grad school getting a doctorate in the social sciences, and I realized that I was pretty good at that, but I really wasn't good at love. I had a few specific problems. I couldn't even identify what they were at the time. I didn't know what I was doing wrong, but I knew there was something that I was doing wrong because the common denominator in all my relationships was me. So being the sciencey, nerdy type of woman that I am, I started consulting science to see if I could improve my outcomes, and I did. And clients started spontaneously approaching me after people started hearing what I had done for myself. And so I've been seeing clients for many years now, locally and on Skype, and I'm coming up to my 10th happily year married, and all of this eventually turned into a book, even though that's not what I had initially planned. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Well, let's jump into it. So why is it that, really smart, successful women have a really hard time finding love? And it's not to say all women, because I don't like to generalize, but I find this more often than not, and I live in New York City, so I see it a lot. Like, these women are beautiful, they're smart, successful. So why is it so hard?
Well, it is hard. There are some really legit reasons why it's hard. One of the main reasons is that the things that women do to succeed in the world of business, the world of work, are things that are not particularly successful in the world of finding a partner who is male. If you want to find a partner who's female, great. But if you're looking for a man, putting yourself forward, making sure that you pursue everything, leading the relationship through your overt actions, these things tend to be really unrewarded. Research shows that women who pursue men are routinely seen as low status and not good wife material. They're good for a hookup, but I wouldn't take them to meet my family kind of thing. I hate that, by the way. I want to emphasize, because sometimes people say, oh, you're not a feminist. I'm totally a feminist. I devote a lot of my time actually to making sure that women and men have a fair shake in life on an equal footing. And I don't like that we seemingly are unequal in this. If a woman takes the pursuer role, it just doesn't work out well. See, that's one of the things I was doing. If I liked a man, I did two things that I now know are not particularly helpful. Thing number one was I was always available, and I was kind of shoving myself down his throat. I didn't see it that way. I thought, oh, I like you if you like me. It felt good when a man that I liked showed me a lot of attention. So I would just lay it on with the trowel for him, right? Oh, you want breakfast? Here you go. Oh, this is what you like. Here, let me do that for you. Oh, yes, of course I'll be there. Of course I won't make any plans. Of course I'll break the plans that I already had. There's never been a perfume called desperation, and there never will be. In the world of work, that stuff works.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I now own my own company, and when somebody emails me, I email them back right away. You always hear from me almost right away when you email me. When a client wants to get in touch with me, I'm right there. If I'm going to be out for a week, I let everybody I'm working with know so that they know if I'm late answering their email that there's a reason for it. But in dating, that's called desperation. So that's one thing. Another thing is some men hold women's success against them. I'm sorry, but it's true.
And can you define what you mean by that, how they hold it against them?
Okay, there was one study, there's so many ways to go with this, but there was one study of online profiles where researchers put up two identical online profiles. They were identical except for one thing. One of them emphasized the woman being youthful and beautiful, and the other one emphasized the woman as being a high-profile attorney or highly educated. And the one that presented herself as youthful and beautiful got a lot more hits. That's both because men respond to youth and beauty, and I can tell you from other studies, it's also because a lot of men feel that they are intimidated by a woman who has achieved more than they have. There's this terrible book, the title of which I'm not going to mention because I don't want anyone reading it, where someone concluded based on these studies that women should just dumb themselves down and not get an education. That is a bogus conclusion, people. I have a PhD, okay? But what I did online is I played up, to the extent possible, my appearance and my sense of fun. And I did not play up my accomplishments and my doctorate. When men met me, I never played dumb. And by the way, my online ad was very quick-witted and smart. So I didn't play dumb online either. But what I chose to emphasize, look, the less somebody knows about you, the more they emphasize everything they do know. Yeah, I was myself the whole time, but I emphasized some things more than others at the beginning.
Well, and I love that you say that because, in my matchmaking business, one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of women do lead with what they do for a living. And I always tell women this, it's what you do. It's not who you are. And a man has never said to me, oh, I want a woman that is an attorney or a book author or whatever it is. And talk about the more personal things that you can connect on with the man, and that he's going to connect to with you. I think once in my matchmaking career have I ever heard someone say, I want someone who's artsy. And I was like, okay, well, but that's the only time I've ever heard it. Men just don't ask for someone who is a certain profession, so don't lead with that. It's just like, Duana, how you said you didn't hide it, but it's not what you put up front. And you didn't.
I didn't hide
yourself.
it, and I didn't lead with it. That's right.
Right.
I was accurate about who I was, but I emphasized who I was instead of what I did.
Right.
I emphasized who I was instead of what education I had.
Right.
And I will say that men with high self-esteem tend to prefer women who are on their level. So by showing that you have high self-esteem and achievements, you are weeding out men who can't handle you anyway. And I did meet men like that. I remember I was getting my PhD at the University of Florida. I was in my mid-20s, and I ran into this guy in the parking lot where I lived in an apartment. And I went in the apartment office because my heart did a bump when I saw him. And I said, oh my God, that guy that's out there is so cute. And all of a sudden he started coming in the office. So I went in the back of the office because I was hiding. I wanted to hear what he said. And he went in and he said to the apartment manager, who I was friends with, hey, who's that woman? I saw her come in. I don't know if she's left the building yet, but I got to know what her name is. And so Angie said, oh, that's Duana. She's great. She's getting a PhD in developmental psychology. She's so smart. And he goes, oh, I don't think I'm smart enough for that. And he left. Now, I would have still dated him because I would have found out quickly. I mean, if we could hold a conversation that was interesting. I didn't care if he was getting his PhD. That's my dream. It's not necessarily his. But the fact that she led with that probably hurt my chances. And the fact that he was so intimidated just by the information, like I never hid the information, I just didn't lead with it.
Right, exactly.
We probably weren't a match, and that's okay. But I'm just saying, that smart, successful women can shoot themselves in the foot if that's all they emphasize, their smartness and their success.
Exactly.
And then my third tip is that most of us have a confirmation bias. We see what we want to see. And currently the sexual moray is kind of Grey's Anatomy. You fall into bed, you fall in love, and then you find out what the deal breakers are after you're deep in the relationship. That hurts. Many of us have been there and done that. It really, really hurts. And one of my prime jobs with clients in my book is to save you pain, to spare you pain that I myself have gone through and that you may have gone through and you're just sick of going through it anymore. And so what I would say to you is put that current dating plan on hold. Let's go back to get to know somebody and whether they match your must-haves. Know what your must-haves are. Make sure they match them. Get emotionally involved after that, because that's a choice, by the way. We can't decide to love someone, but we can decide to not let ourselves just go crazy with it until after we know some stuff about them. And then get sexually and deeply emotionally involved. Not for any religious reason, not for any moral reason, but for the reason that it helps your heart be open for another great relationship.
Right. And also, I always find with women is that then once they have sex, they infinitely become more attached, more vulnerable, and even if they went in going, yeah, I'm not looking for anything serious, they infinitely become more attached and they want more, and then he's not willing to give more. So you're absolutely right, Duana. Find out more. Find out what your deal breakers are and more about him before you get.
And that's basic biology, what you just brought up. Basic biology is that 99% of what is in semen is not sperm. 99% of it is dopamine and oxytocin and other chemicals that are absorbed through the walls of the vagina that make women be attached and fall in love. I know that many of us women wish that we could have casual sex, but there is a scientist named Maeve. Actually, this has been discovered by many scientists, but the one I'm thinking of right now is Mavis Hetherington, who in her 20-year longitudinal study of adults who were going through divorce found that while suicide attempts following divorce were very rare, 100% of the women, of the people in her sample who tried to commit suicide or who thought about it seriously were women who had just attempted to have casual sex and found out it wasn't casual for them. For some women, this makes them very lonely and very insecure. Look, your mileage may vary. I'm not going to moralize on this, but I am going to say we talk a lot about safe sex. I want to shift the conversation a little. Let's protect our hearts too.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. This has been an amazing interview, and I know, Duana, you have a free gift for the ladies, so can you tell them a little bit about it?
I do. Your audience is so great, and I do have a free gift. If you go to lovefactually with an F.co, you get a free first chapter of my book. You see if you like it, and just like these interviews, hopefully it gives you some benefit from just reading that first chapter. And I also answer all my emails for free. So lovefactually.co.
Awesome. And trust me, ladies, you will love the book. So go get that free chapter. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single on Stiletto show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you would like to get the videos, you can go to singleonstilettos.com. And if you would like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. And if you would like to get our free ebook on the Why Men Disappear Without a Trace, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleonstilettos.com.